If you are stuck in a job that you feel is becoming pointless, this video is going to show you how to survive it. And I mean, truly survive it with your sanity and your future intact. Most people believe there are only two moves in the situation. You either quit or you shut down and coast. I have trained thousands of leaders and teams over the last 20 years. And I can tell you the people who win this situation do neither. They stay on purpose with a plan and they use the job as fuel to build what comes next. This is not settling. Settling is staying without a plan. And what I'm going to teach you is staying with one. Everything is your teacher, including a job that feels like it means nothing, if you let it teach you instead of drain you. If you appreciate me making this type of content, let me know by gently tapping that like button. Here we go. The first point is you probably have a poisoned perspective at work, and you do not even know that your perspective has been poisoned. Because it's been poisoned for so long, what you've done is you've opened up your perception for everything that's wrong with your job instead of having your ability to see everything that's right with your job. I guarantee you there's people on the planet right now that would die to have your job. And right now is a time to not let your job go. What you lack at this moment is you lack the why, because the bigger the why, the bigger the how. Good times makes weak people, and weak people make bad times, and bad times make strong people, and strong people make good times. People that come from third world countries, second world countries, they are stronger because they had to put up with bad times. And when they come to America, they don't look at their job as pointless because your job does have a point. The point is to feed your family. The point is sustenance. So what this is going to require is a perception reversal. And it's almost impossible if you're not conscious. It requires you to be a conscious human being. I teach people about the autonomic nervous system. And I say, do you have to make yourself breathe? They say no. I say, do you have to make your heart beat? And they say no. I say, do you have to make yourself think? And they say no. Then I say, take one deep breath in. And I say, what controlled your breath? And I say, that was your consciousness. Now stand upright. Give me your best fake smile. And I say, what controlled your body language? That was your consciousness. And then I say, now think about a thought that makes you feel happy. What controlled your thoughts? That was your consciousness. And you want to make your consciousness the boss. Then I say to the audience, who's the boss? They don't know what to say. I say, I'm the boss. Then I say, who's the boss? They all go, I'm the boss. Who's the boss? I'm the boss. You use your boss perspective so that you can point your perspective and calibrate your perspective towards everything that's good about your job. The point is that you need to make money to live in this world. And if you lose your job, you're not going to make money. All of a sudden, when you have the why, your job takes on a whole new hue. Second point is strategic staying. Settling has no plan, strategy does. In this situation, you want to come up with a strategy so that you can survive your job. And part of that strategy is understanding that jobs are disappearing every day. And when something becomes scarce, it becomes valuable. And jobs are scarce on the planet Earth right now. So recognize that you are lucky to have a job and recognize that losing your job is not an option. The best time to find a new job is not when you're looking for a job, it's when you already have one. So what you want to do is come up with a strategy so that you can enjoy your job. And the first thing you want to do is you want to prime yourself every morning. Every morning we are in an alpha state. This is a state where you are highly suggestible to programming. Every morning, your job is to put good information in your head. Now, you could pray for your religion, or you could meditate if you meditate, or you could work out, or you could listen to podcasts, or you can listen to audiobooks, or you can do all of them. You can express gratitude. You can write down everything that you're grateful for. But in this situation, you want to calibrate your perspective every morning. It will have a tremendous effect on the rest of your day. And then what you want to do is learn to focus on what you love about your job. When you can change your own perspective, that's a form of alchemy. An alchemist is somebody that turns lead to gold. So if you could take a poison perspective and turn it into an abundance perspective, that is masterful. That's the ability to use your boss identity and use your consciousness and come up with a strategy. The strategy is learn to like everybody at work. The strategy is to connect with everybody you work with. Without connection, there is no influence. The strategy is to be thankful for your job. The strategy is to work your rear off every day to the best of your ability. The strategy is for you to stay in the game. The strategy is for you to be the most valuable employee there. The strategy is for you to be the most adaptable employee there. The strategy is for you to fit in and give everybody there that you work with love. This strategy will keep you in the game. The third point is be untriggerable. You can't outthink a hijacked nervous system. Most people are ran by their emotions and they're not running their emotions. Most people are ran by their thoughts and they're not running their thoughts. People don't understand that we have emotional habits. They don't even understand the triggers as associative conditioning. When you go to work every day and you're unhappy, what you're doing is you're associating unhappiness with your job. When you associate positiveness with your job, this is a good thing. So you have to unwire an old habit and rewire in a new habit. And this requires effort. This requires discipline. Now, discipline is doing what your ego doesn't want to do. I told a class that I was training recently, I took a cold shower this morning. And I said, why do you think I took the cold shower? Nobody had an answer. I said, because I was doing what my ego didn't want to do. So when you have the ability to learn to love something that you previously thought was pointless, that was depressing, that had no purpose, that is masterful. But it's going to require discipline, or a better word than discipline is devotion. And when you're devoted to something, you do it effortlessly. If you can learn to love your job that you believe is pointless, you can love anything. Your job is practice. Your job is a gym. And don't beat yourself up if you don't do it the first day, the second day, the first week, the second week, the first month, the second month. It takes time, but I guarantee you, you can learn to love your job. And when you recognize that it is not pointless, it is pointful, and you have an absolute point being there, you'll understand how you radiate beyond your furthest imagination, because you are radiating your energy. And if you have pointless vibe, you're bringing pointlessness in the planet Earth. But if you have the ability that you are the point to bring hope to people, it makes a tremendous difference. The fourth point is autopilot alert. Oftentimes people don't know that they're automated. I preach consciousness. Now, awareness is understanding, and awareness is the first key to change. And awareness is consciousness. When you're automated, you don't even know that you're automated because you are psychologically asleep, because you're doing the same thing day after day. So when we walk into work and do the same thing day after day, we do it unconsciously. And when you're unconscious, there is no purpose. When you can put the consciousness back in your day and everything has meaning, as opposed to being a meaningless, repetitive task, all of a sudden it becomes more important. So the practice is learning how to consciously do your job, learning how to consciously pay attention to your breath, pay attention to your body, pay attention to your brain, and direct your consciousness and put the consciousness into your common salutations. Hello. Put consciousness back into your job, consciousness into every task, and then it will become meaningful and you'll integrate at a much higher level. The fifth point is when you change, your job changes. If you don't change, your job isn't going to change. But when you understand that, you don't work on changing what's outside of you, you work on changing what's inside of you. It changes your perspective. It changes how you view reality. And when you change here, everything changes out here. Now, some of you believe in the law of attraction. So when you change your vibe, it changes your attraction. Some of you believe in quantum physics. That's the study of what you expect is what you create. Watch Doc Quantum on YouTube. He's going to teach you that what you expect is what you actually create. You are co-creating your reality at some degree. The only question is what degree. So if you're co-creating your job being pointless, you're keeping it being pointless. But if I can change my perspective and see the point to the job, seeing the purpose to the job, seeing all the lessons that it's teaching me in this moment, now I have a chance to survive. Now I have a chance to keep it going. When I recognize that I have the ability to radiate and attract seemingly synchronistic, serendipitous incidences that some people might call a coincidence, but I know it's not a coincidence because I've been working on my inside. When you change, your job changes. That's why changing your vibe, changing your perspective, understanding that your vibe is critical, understanding that your perspective is critical, using your boss identity to focus on everything that's beautiful outside of you and just watch what happens. Make it a study and prove it out. That's the whole thing. Poisoned perspective, strategic stain, untriggerable, autopilot alert. And when you change, your job changes. 5 shifts, and every one of them happens on the inside before anything ever changes on the outside. You do not need a new job to start this. You need one deep breath, one honest look at your why, and one decision to stop being automated and start being conscious in the job that you already have. Pick one of these 5, not all 5, one, and practice it this week and watch what starts to move around you. Your job was never the problem. Your consciousness was asleep at the wheel, and now it's not. That is how you survive a job that is pointless. That is how you find the point that was there the whole time. If you appreciate me making this type of content, please let me know by gently tapping that like button and subscribe so we can keep growing together, because we are not here to avoid pressure. We are here to embrace it. We are building strength, and we are turning snowflakes into diamonds.